Here, strength has its limits. I feel pain, she says, because I can't be with my family. I can't sit at the same table with my mother and daughter. Christmas morning, and no let-up in the shelling. For months, Russian forces have tried to take this city, but so far have failed. But in the process, according to one local official, more than 60% of Bakhmut has been destroyed. At the Church of All Saints, priests hold Mass in the relative safety of the crypt. Candles provide the only light and warmth in this, the darkest of times. Ben Wiedemann, CNN, Bakhmut.
Now, Prince Harry continued his litany of allegations against the royal family. These accusations were made by him in interviews ahead of the release of his new memoir titled Spare, which is also garnering controversy and criticism. CNN's Isabel Rosales has had
the release of his memoir, Spare.
Nothing of what I've done in this book or otherwise has ever been any intention to harm them or hurt them.
This all comes as Harry continues to push back against what he calls the institution, casting a litany of allegations against the inner workings of the monarchy, while also candidly speaking about the death of his mother, Princess Diana.
I don't think my family knew what to do. I wish I had the ability or the opportunity to do some form of therapy.
On Good Morning America Monday, the Duke of Sussex took responsibility for his role in the breakdown of the relationship with his brother, Prince William, and said his mother would feel sad over its current state.
I think she would be heartbroken that it's ended up where it's ended up.
Harry further admitted he hasn't spoken with his stepmother, Camilla, the Queen Consort, for a long time.
I love every member of my family, despite the differences. So when I see her, we're perfectly pleasant with each other.
Harry also expressed disdain for the British tabloid press and its interactions with the monarchy. Thus far, Buckingham Palace has been silent.
They're pretty hamstrung. They can't use the old way of doing it with leaks and briefings and what have you, because that's exactly what Harry's railing about.
But Harry appears to be set on making his voice heard.
Staying silent is ever going to make things better. That's genuinely what I believe.
Narendra coming to you live from the newsroom here at CNN News 18, and we begin with big news coming in around the Ram Mandir on Ram Lala Virajman at Ram Janmabhoomi in Ayodhya. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a huge terror threat that's been now cited by the intel agencies. At this point, we are given to understand, and this is courtesy our investigations editor Manoj Gupta. This is a CNN News 18 exclusive that we'll start straight with, that Pak-based terror groups Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba are planning a major attack at the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya on the Ram Janmabhoomi. Now, sources are saying that they want to disrupt the construction and they want to attack this Ram Mandir before it is completed, before the completion which is scheduled for December 2023 or Jan 2024, if you were to go by what the Union Home Minister Amit Shah said just the other day. But they want to conduct a suicide attack or a terrorist attack. Arms, ammunition and even the Fidain or the suicide terrorists will be smuggled is one aspect, but the other part is that the Pak military establishment is not able to control that narrative anymore. And with the security grid tightening, with their tunnels caught, with their drones being shot down, with their effort to try and bring in narco-terror also being put paid, they are now focusing their attention towards all of North India, and once again, they are trying to target the Ram Janmabhoomi in Uttar Pradesh, in Ayodhya. Post the judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court, and from the time the path was paved by the top court of our country for a construction of a Bhavya Ram Mandir, repeatedly there have been terror threats which have been thwarted. In fact, terror threats were there even before the judgment, even around the time when there was a temporary tent at that time, and around 2014 election results, there were threats. Multiple times these threats have been thwarted, but now it seems to be an act of desperation, and there could be multiple attempts made to try and effect damage to the temple and derail the construction and completion of the after construction has been on in full swing. But these are the details that we are getting courtesy of investigations editor Manoj Gupta. Pathikrit Pine now joins us. Pathikrit, thank you for your time. More importantly, the cause for worry is that it's a porous border with Nepal. It's just about 6 to 7 hours from Nepal border towards Ayodhya.
Anand, you are absolutely right. And once again, the issue of the open border between India and Nepal becomes a contentious issue. And we have to be very careful and watchful and see whether something can be done to fence that border. But, this anticipation about something being possibly done over Ram Temple was always there. In 2005, there was a Lashkar attack. And I think based on those anticipations, there has been certain developments which have happened in that place. For example, number one, the special task force of typically protection of the perimeter of that area, and at the same time there has been major expansion of ATS. But I think you are very right on one specific issue, that the possibility of the attack is more profound during the construction phase rather than after the completion, because they would try to derail that process. During the construction process, a lot of people come in, laborers come in, lot of material are coming in, a lot of movements of trucks are happening, and there is a strong requirement of security. I'm sure the security agencies are taking care of it. But I think Pakistan also is trying to desperately find out a trigger so that there is a major retaliation by India. And that in turn, Pakistan's deep state is hoping will galvanize that completely, divided country into one, which is Pakistan. Because as it stands today, Pakistan is on the verge of implosion, with Tehrik-e-Taliban having successfully, literally delineated the Swat Valley and the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa region and Balochistan from Sindh and Pakistan. As things stand today in Pakistan, in the next 1 decade, only perhaps Punjab and Sindh will remain in Pakistan. So there is a possibility they'll try to trigger, and I think the government of India is aware of this. That's why they will try to thwart every kind of possible attacks, not necessarily only a physical attack. It can be a drone attack. We have seen that how the dimensions of terrorism have been altering in the recent half a decade. So I'm sure a lot of measures have been taken, and you see the alacrity with which Uttar Pradesh Special Security Force was formed on the line of CISF. 1 battalion is being based in Ayodhya specifically for this purpose. The ATS, but to perhaps the deep state of Pakistan and some other countries desperately want that to happen.
This is a nation that in desperation has attacked some of our beacons in our society. The parliament in 2001, Mumbai, the financial capital, the Taj there, and also their whereabouts at Gateway of India and that entire region in 2008. So is this also a sign of desperation that somewhere Pakistan wants to create a certain narrative and trying to win back this narrative? That's from the security point, the narrative point of view. And the other aspect is that they want to create a certain social strife, communal strife in the country. And the political aspect of this is that the rise of the BJP happened with the Rath Yatra and the call for the Ram Mandir to be built on Ram Janmabhoomi. So is this to also perhaps a political agenda, underlying political agenda there? Because you've had recently Pakistan ministers trying to again raise the BJP, RSS, Hindutva forces. So is this attacking Hindutva while targeting the beacon of Hindutva, that is Ram Janmabhoomi, Ram Mandir?
Anand, you're absolutely right. I think the deep state of Pakistan also realizes the profundity of the impact of the Ram Mandir construction would have. So perhaps possibly the fortune of BJP in 2024 election. So desperately they will try to derail it. Secondly, the idea of Pakistan today is in shambles. Tehrik-e-Taliban has made sure that in Balochistan or in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa region, especially in the Swat Valley, they don't consider Pakistan as it exists. They only think Pakistan as an extension of Punjab. So whether it is Gilgit-Baltistan, everywhere else, the idea of Pakistan today does not exist. One of the possibilities that's the reason they will try to do a desperate attack. There has been these attacks that they've been trying to do, but question is whether they can afford it. That's the big question, and how much India has to show resilience in terms of making sure that they don't retaliate is another issue. I think not retaliating will be very challenging, and that's why thwarting it is more important than making sure that you retaliate. So the security of this area becomes very critical. As you also rightly mentioned, the porous Nepal border, open border, is once again posing a challenge, and that's why I think I urge the government of India to reconsider the open border and have a fencing over there, because even if you put in a lot of armed forces personnel, border personnel of SSB, guarding a completely open border where there is no restriction of movement becomes very challenging, and that challenge today might become another problem for India before 2024 elections.
Now, but this is the irony is that they are trying to send Fidain, arms, ammunition, drugs into Bharat. time and again, and they are persistent on it. But their own nation, like you said, is hurtling towards balkanization. Out of the 4 provinces, they're almost being ripped off 2, and the other 2 are also in flux. That's the reality with Pakistan at this point. And look, the ground reality is there. Let's go to that. This is what is actually happening in Pakistan. A nation that is obsessed with something that doesn't belong to them. They're coveting that, and they're just obsessed with one narrative. It's fighting for flour on the streets. Aate ke liye lad rahe hain log. For 10 kilograms of atta, the fight that is happening is an economic crisis in Pakistan that's brewing. Cash-strapped nation is fighting over ration. That's what's happening. Locals in many parts of the country, they have no access to atta. Not so long ago, 2 years ago, there was a fight over roti naan. The Prime Minister at that time, Imran Khan, had to step in to try and regulate the price of roti, naan and milk. Now we are seeing fight for atta. This is the fight that's happening. Let's go full visuals on the on what we are seeing on that, ladies and gentlemen. This is what it is. As much as 50% the price of wheat has skyrocketed. In certain places, atta is at 2,100 rupees per kilogram. That's the current situation that we are getting. The amounts are startling. Look at how they are fighting, and they are fighting over a sack of flour, and then they are fighting with each other. Pathikrit, this is the state of affairs there. The state of affairs in Pakistan is खाने के लाले पड़ रहे हैं, पानी नहीं है, बिजली नहीं है, nothing. The whole nation is in crisis.
Always been to use that land of Pakistan to conspire against other countries. The outcome is this. Today, Pakistan is having an implosion over inflation. Inflation is leading to implosion of the country, along with all kinds of atrocities they have done. Remember what they have tried to do in Kashmir was almost akin to what they have done in Balochistan. Therefore, the Baloch people are, violently protesting. There are protests in South Waziristan. There is protest in Gilgit-Baltistan region, where under the Khalsa Sarkar law, they are going for land grabbing. There is a fear in, Gilgit-Baltistan region that, like the Shaksgam Valley, they might give away Gilgit-Baltistan to the Chinese altogether. So Pakistan literally today does not exist, because whatever money they get, it gets siphoned off externally, and people continue to suffer. They have suffered so much that today, when India is talking about G20 presidency, they are fighting for.
Now have a glass of water, Pathikrit, but we'll just go back to these visuals and let's just play out this entire sequence with the ambient sound, and just look at how they are fighting over a sack of rice, ladies and gentlemen, sack of flour. आटे के लिए लड़ाई चल रही है अभी पाकिस्तान में. This is the story on ground. The common people don't even have food. There's a hand-to-mouth existence is also under threat, and their elite are busy taking private jets for short distances for meetings. Their ministers, that's the la-la land they're living in. This is a Nero moment in Pakistan that we can witness. And if this starts in areas like Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, etc., the prices of flour have reached about 2,100 rupees per kilogram. That's Pakistani rupees per kilo. That's the kind of costs. And dal, basic ration has become so far beyond reach the common person in certain regions. Now there is more news coming through. Into day 12, ladies and gentlemen. Day 12 in Gilgit-Baltistan and Pak-occupied Jammu and Kashmir region. Look at the protests. So from these pictures to more dramatic pictures, let's move on, where the agitation against land grab, illegal taxes, high power prices in Gilgit-Baltistan have now spread into Muzaffarabad, that is Pak-occupied Kashmir. This comes after 12 days of protests in the Gilgit region, namely Skardu, Hunza, Geyser and all these regions. Now it is moved to Muzaffarabad, where a meeting of the Chief Minister with the Anjuman Tajran Baltistan was held, in which the state establishment had asked for 1 month to assess their demands, after which the protests ended, giving this Pakistan government, this puppet government which has been put there, some time, biding some time. But look at the level of agitation. There is fury in Pak-occupied Jammu Kashmir. Pathikrit, this is what you're talking about. 12 days of protests, and this is a series of protests that have taken place there, where people say we are bad. We look at the condition here. Last evening, I was speaking to General KJS Dillon, and he's telling me that people who have gone over to PoJK, they come back and say, "Wahan to go."
First of all, it is implosion again due to inflation that is happening. Second, like the blasphemy law that the deep state of Pakistan have used to grab the land of minorities. In case of Gilgit-Baltistan, it is the Khalsa Sarkar law, under which the government, the federal government, can take over any uncultivated or barren land. And the fear among the Gilgit-Baltistan people is this, that the manner in which the land grabbing is continuing, the manner in which the Chinese are coming and taking over land under the pretext of CPEC, there's a strong possibility that the manner in which Pakistan gave away Shaksgam Valley to China, they might give away Gilgit-Baltistan to China as well, because Gilgit-Baltistan is very proximate.
But it is not theirs to give off. It's not theirs to give. It's not theirs to give. This is sovereign Indian territory. They are actually supposed to pull their troops back, move back, if they go back to the UN resolution that they are signatories to. Clause number 1 very clearly says that Pakistan has to remove any footprint of its army on any land and territory that is sovereign Indian territory. That is all of their occupied territory. That's what clause number 1 says very clearly.
Yes, and that is why the people of Gilgit-Baltistan are saying that they want to be part of India, because they have seen the kind of infrastructure build-up has happened in Kashmir vis-a-vis what has happened in Gilgit-Baltistan. In fact, remember, during the Kargil war also, Pakistan used the Northern Light Infantry, which consisted entirely of people from Gilgit-Baltistan, as dispensable pawns, because they don't consider people of Gilgit-Baltistan as original citizens of Pakistan. They use that as a vassal state. And then there is the issue of power crisis. There is a humongous rise in the power price. Taxes are high, land grab is happening, demographic shift is happening, Chinese are coming and doing everything they want, and there is this implosion which is spreading like an epidemic of COVID, from Balochistan to Swat Valley to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa to Gilgit-Baltistan. In this kind of a situation where the deep state of Pakistan is finding it difficult to control, and there are organizations like Pakistan Tehreek-e-Labbaik or the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. So that is why they might plot something which will trigger a retaliation, and based on that they are hoping that they would try to galvanize the country, because as things stand today, they do not have the funds to keep people happy the way they have done for a long time, because Pakistan, Anand, has never been a viable state. It has been kept afloat by vested interest for its geopolitical advantage and geostrategic location. Today, that geostrategic location and its utility is going down, and that's the reason there is no fund in the hand of Pakistan to keep people happy, because otherwise they never had a viable economy to thrive. Bangladesh, coming out of Pakistan, has a higher GDP, higher per capita income, higher exports than Pakistan. It has less than $5 billion. Yesterday, some countries pledged $9 billion to Pakistan to help that country to come out of flood-ravaged regions and develop it.
Right.
It is for sure. You know, I know, all the $9 billion, at least $8 billion will be siphoned off to foreign countries, and the people will continue to suffer. In Pakistan, whether it is floods, whether it is terrorism, whether it is anything else, it is the elite of Pakistan which have taken the victim card, taken money from abroad, used that money for their own benefit, while people of Pakistan continue to suffer. As a chain reaction of all of that, the pent-up reaction and anger is where what you find today, that people are fighting and killing each other for a sack of rice. And this is
it's a 1 month reprieve, 1 month reprieve in PoJK, because this is the largest ever public protest in the history of Gilgit-Baltistan, which has now been brought to a temporary halt. The protest was aimed directly at the people who were raising their voices for issues related to cuts in wheat subsidy, increase in electricity bills, enforcement of illegal taxes, and the teachers' strike at Toramuk Truck Road in Toramuk. The people of Gilgit-Baltistan refusing to accept colonial system now and deciding to fight for their rights, and the protesters saying if the ruling class and the bureaucracy continue the mistake of considering Gilgit-Baltistan as a grazing land, this resistance will intensify. So the problems are only mounting, and Pakistan and its occupied territories fast hurtling towards not just massive civic unrest, but also balkanization, ladies and gentlemen. A nation which is just now has $4.5 billion in its forex reserves, can only shoulder 25 days of imports in financial doldrums, is rife with civic unrest, and the gap between the haves and the have-nots is immense, is massive, is still not willing to give up its obsession with what doesn't belong to them, and they want to orchestrate terror strikes on Bharat. That is their obsession. Should the world not know the reality of this failed state? Pathikrit Pine, thank you for your inputs. We're going to take a very, very short break here on The Nation at 5. We turn the spotlight towards Joshimath when we come back. Stay with us.
Delhi has recorded minimum temperature of 1.9 degrees Celsius as the national capital reels under severe cold wave. A thick layer of fog covered Delhi and its adjoining areas, lowering the visibility. Around 20 flights from the Indira Gandhi International Airport and 42 trains have been delayed due to the foggy weather.
Delhi has recorded its lowest temperature of this season with Safdarjung at 1.9 degrees Celsius. Also, this is the lowest which the national capital has achieved for this winter season. If we talk about the visibility, it is as low as 50 meters in Delhi. Currently, we are reporting from the Kartavya Path area. These are the visuals we are showing you on CNN News 18, that how a dense layer of fog has completely covered the capital city.
With the prevailing cold wave across North India, a normal life has taken a hit across the northern part of India. In fact, due to the prevailing foggy conditions, a lot of trains are being delayed. And in fact, as per Northern Railways, trains bound to the national capital, around 42 trains, such trains have been delayed. The Northern Railways have maintained that 42 trains which are delayed on the Sunday morning are being delayed for around 4 to 5 hours.
Odisha CM Naveen Patnaik, along with Union Ministers Jyotiraditya Scindia and Dharmendra Pradhan, inaugurated direct flight services from Bhubaneswar to Rourkela. This move has been taken ahead of Odisha Hockey World Cup that will commence on January 13th. Naveen Patnaik also expressed his appreciation to PM Narendra Modi for his constant support. A leopard was rescued after it entered a house in Aligarh's Kasba Jawan village in Uttar Pradesh. According to reports, the big cat entered the home after being chased into it by villagers. The officials carried the big cat after it was tranquilized. The resident Sunita said that the leopard tried to attack her, but that she immediately hid in the kitchen.
ऐसे मुझ पे बहरा के पड़ा तो मैं भागी थी धक्का लेके, तो वो तुरंत ही कमरा में घुस गया। कमरा बंद कर दिया था? नहीं, बंद नहीं कर पाए थे, इतना मौका ही नहीं दिया उसने। हम तो किचन में ही बंद हो गए। पड़ोस वालों ने दी है, हमने कहा था, पड़ोस वाले किच्ची मार रहे थे, तो उन्होंने उनसे कहा, उन्होंने ये कही तुम आप लिख लो, मैंने कि हम नहीं निकल पाएंगे, शेर है इसमें और आप जाओ। उसने किचन पे बाहर नहीं किया, गेट पे नहीं, कोई नहीं बच पाते। वो तो कमरे में ही उसने इन्वर्टर वगैरह तोड़े हैं, लाइट वगैरह सारी खराब कर दी और ये मोटर वगैरह सब तोड़ दी उन्होंने।
A criminal shot and injured a journalist identified as Rajesh Anal in Bihar's Siwan district. The injured journalist was admitted to Sadar Hospital in Siwan after seeing his serious condition. Rajesh Anal was returning home after closing a shop when two bike riders attacked him and fled after firing. Further investigation into this matter is on.
ये मुख्यमंत्री जी आ रहे हैं, माहौल बिगाड़ने के लिए ऐसा किया गया है, दूसरा कोई बात नहीं। जिला का माहौल खराब किया जाए, इसीलिए देखे हैं तो वे बताएंगे, FIR करेंगे तो खुद बताएंगे, अलग कोई बात है, लेकिन माहौल खराब करने के लिए ऐसा किया गया। ये हम प्रशासन से क्या आप लोग चाहते हैं? प्रशासन तो हर वक्त जो भी क्राइम करता है उसको पकड़ कर जेल प्रशासन भेजती है, ये भी जो क्राइम किया है वो जेल जाएगा।
The Assam police intercepted a car and nabbed two drug peddlers and one other person near Assam's Jatinga area. The police have recovered 42 narcotic capsules that weigh 20 grams, which the accused kept in small plastic containers. The police have been keeping an eye on the nexus in order to catch them.
एक प्लास्टिक बोतल में मिला था, वहाँ पे छुपा के रखा था, तो टोटल 42 जो छोटा कंटेनर्स है वो मिला है और वेट करने के बाद उसका अराउंड 20 ग्राम्स जैसा मिला है। जितना जो ऑपरेशंस चला रहे थे तो अलग अलग आदमी था, तो उनका जो सोर्स है या किसी का कुछ कांटेक्ट है उस हिसाब से हम लोग जैसे नज़र रखे हुए थे, जैसे इन्फॉर्मेशन मिला कि ऐसा ला सकते हैं, तो उस हिसाब से हम लोग ये ऑपरेशन किया तो आज सक्सेसफुल हुआ।
2 workers died and 3 people were rescued after portions of concrete slabs of an under-construction building collapsed in Hyderabad's Kukatpalli. Out of the 3 people rescued, 1 worker sustained minor injuries. The injured worker was shifted to a nearby hospital. The municipal corporation also issued a show-cause notice to the building owner for deviating from the sanctioned permit plan.
ERF local teams and also other local people helped us to clear all the debris. The 5 people was on the top of the building at the time of collapse, and 3 were rescued safely, and 2 people were buried under the debris. And the spot when the building collapsed, they might have died. So after a rescue of 5 hours, we were able to recover the bodies.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will flag off Ganga Vilas cruise on January 13. Preparations are currently underway and the excitement is high among people. The people of Varanasi believe that this cruise will be very helpful in attracting tourism and consider it as PM's gift to Kashi. The cruise will cover a distance of nearly 4,000 kilometers in 50 days.
ये विश्व का सबसे बड़ा जल यात्रा है और हम लोगों का सौभाग्य कि ये काशी से चालू हो रहा है, कि बनारस से चालू हो रहा है, और ये बनारस से चल के जो इसमें कई देशों के नागरिक रहेंगे, तो ये एक विश्व में एक अलग संदेश जाएगा। ये जो काशी जल यात्रा चल रही है, और बनारस का पर्यटक इससे काफ़ी हद तक बढ़ा हुआ है।
यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी हमेशा कुछ नया करते हैं, अलग करते हैं, और वो इसकी शुरुआत कर रहे हैं। पर्यटन के क्षेत्र में इतिहास रचा जा रहा है।
Madhya Pradesh CM Shivraj Singh Chauhan hosted a dinner for the NRIs who've arrived for the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, which is to be held from January 8th to 10th in Indore. Around 500 NRIs are taking part in the meet. Remember, Friends of MP was formed during Shivraj's US visit in 2016.
मध्य प्रदेश की 8.5 करोड़ जनता की ओर से हृदय से स्वागत करता हूँ। आप सबका
उधर हो जाओ भैया, सिक्योरिटी वाले को।
मध्य प्रदेश देश का दिल है।
Alarm bells are on in Joshimath, ladies and gentlemen. There are evacuations happening, there are teams that are assessing the amount of damage, and also large question that looms, that is all of Joshimath under threat of subsidence. Could we lose the existence of Joshimath as we know altogether to what is being termed as an ecological come man-made disaster? We'll try and understand the various dynamics, but cracks have now been seen in over 680 buildings, and as many as 81 families have now been relocated to safer areas. The pre-demolition exercise has begun in Joshimath as multiple teams have reached the spot to study buildings. Now 2 or 3 buildings have been identified which will be raised with an effort to try and reduce the load on the topsoil and perhaps somewhere stem the subsidence and the resulting cracks, which is happening across many other homes, 680 of the buildings so far. The MOS Defence Ajay Bhatt has also visited Joshimath to take stock of the situation. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Pushkar Dhami has ordered surveys to be conducted at all hill districts of the state. Joshimath has been declared a landslide subsidence zone at the moment, and even as we speak, the Chief Minister is in a review meeting with the local district magistrate and some of the other officials who are part of the relief, rescue, rehabilitation work.
Emotions are high here in Joshimath for all those affected families who have been asked to shift to the nearby safer location. We are now in conversation with one of the affected lady, Rekha. She has come here to pay a last visit to her old residence. Rekha ji, आज आप यहाँ पे आई हैं, आँखें आपकी नम भी हैं, क्या भावनाएं लेकर के आप यहाँ पे आज पहुँची हैं?
आज मेरे मन में हुआ कि आज अपने घर को जो हमने पहले सही सलामत देखा था उसे देखने चले जाएं, देख लें अपने भाइयों का कैसा उनको लग रहा यहाँ पे देख के। तो
So this is the high on emotion sequence that we are showing you here on CNN News 18. Rekha ji, she has spent most of her life at this particular place, which is now turned into the Anganwadi center. But a lot of her younger life, she has been all through her life at this place only. But now it has been marked as unsafe. This is the reason why for the very last time she has come here to pay a visit, and during the last time she has made some of the photograph and the videography as well of the house, which reminds her of her entire livelihood, entire life from birth to till death position.
जोशीमठ की तरह कर्णप्रयाग में भी घरों में मोटी मोटी दरारें आने लगी हैं और हालात कुछ घरों के तो ऐसे हो गए हैं कि मानो वो जमींदोज होने की कगार पर हों। आप मेरे पीछे ये जो घर देख रहे हैं, आप साफ तौर पर देख सकते हैं किस तरीके से यहाँ पर पूरे के पूरे जो ढांचा है वो कमजोर होकर गिरना शुरू हो गया है। आपको सीढ़ियों के जरिए जाते हुए दिखाएंगे। ये सीढ़ियों पर आप देख सकते हैं और उधर भी क्रैक्स पड़े हुए हैं। न सिर्फ इतना, इस घर के अंदर ये वॉशरूम का इलाका है। देखिए पूरी तरीके से ये दरार है और कभी भी ये वाला जो हिस्सा है इधर सड़क की तरफ गिर सकता है। इधर आप देखिए ये मोटे मोटे पत्थर आपको दिखाई दे रहे होंगे और ये जो वॉशरूम है वो पूरी तरीके से ब्लॉक हो चुका है। मिट्टी गिरनी शुरू हो गई है और ये कब गिर जाए कुछ मालूम नहीं। अंदर जाके जरा आपको हालात दिखाते हैं, यहाँ के क्या कुछ हालात हैं। दरअसल ये वाकई बहुत खतरनाक है। यहाँ पर देखिए हालत क्या है। ये पूरा का पूरा ये बिम है और सपोर्ट के लिए लगाई जाती है, जो कि खुद इस वक्त देखिए किस तरीके से पूरी तरीके से टेढ़ी हो चुकी है। यहाँ बड़े बड़े पत्थर हैं और ऐसे में कब जमींदोज हो जाएगा कुछ पता नहीं। चौतरफा अगर कुछ दिखाई दे रहा है तो सीमेंट के छोटे छोटे टुकड़े, ये देखिए इस तरह के टुकड़े जो कि दीवारों से झड़ झड़ के नीचे गिरने शुरू हुए हैं। लेकिन इधर के हालात तो और भी ज्यादा खराब हैं। ये पूरी की पूरी विम क्रैक पड़ी है, कुछ कपड़े हैं, डब्बा है जो कि यहाँ पर इस घर में इस्तेमाल किया गया होगा और ये वाला इलाका पूरी तरीके से जर्जर, मतलब हल्का सा भी कंपन हुआ तो ये इलाका जमींदोज हो जाएगा।
इस वक्त हम मौजूद हैं गांधीनगर वार्ड में, ये छावनी बाजार का इलाका है। देखिए यहाँ क्या तस्वीरें हम आपको दिखा रहे हैं। यहाँ लोगों को घरों से जाने के लिए कहा गया है और ये स्थिति यहाँ पर बनी हुई है। घर की तस्वीरें आपको दिखा रहे हैं किस तरीके से सीढ़ी पूरा कोना छोड़ चुकी है और अंदर बेहद खतरनाक तस्वीरें। इसके ज्यादा अंदर जाना हमारे लिए भी खतरनाक है, पर यहाँ फर्श से आप जरा शुरुआत कर लें तो आपको नजर आएगा कि क्या हालत यहाँ पर बनी हुई है। पूरा फर्श जो है दो भागों में यहाँ पर टूट कर बिखर गया है। जरा दीवार ऊपर की तरफ देखिए, दीवारों में किस किस तरीके के गैप्स आ गए हैं। पीछे तक पूरा जो मकान है वो टूट कर खिसक गया है, खिसक कर टूटा हुआ है। यहाँ आप देखें बड़े बड़े पत्थर जिनसे दीवार बनाई हुई वो बिल्कुल अलग अलग हिस्सों में यहाँ पर नजर आ रहे हैं। यहाँ पूरे इस स्लैब एरिया को अगर आप देखेंगे तो बिल्कुल अलग हिस्सों में ही नजर आ रहा है। पीछे तक जहां तक देखेंगे दरारें और गहरी दरारें बिल्कुल नजर आ रही हैं। बेहद खतरनाक ये घर, जिसको फिलहाल खाली करा दिया गया है। इसमें रहने वाले लोगों को घर वापस आने की उम्मीद तक नहीं है। इस वजह से ही उन्होंने घर को भी बिना ताले के छोड़ा हुआ है। लोग यहां पर आकर इनके घर के हालात देखकर समझ रहे हैं कि किस दौर से घर के जो मालिक हैं वो गुजरे होंगे। तस्वीरें जब बाहर की भी हम आपको दिखा रहे हैं तो साफ पता चल रहा है कि कितना खतरनाक यहां पर रहना था। ये जरा इन दो मकानों के बीच का गैप देखिए, ये दो जो कमरे हैं इसके बीच का गैप देखिए, कितना ज्यादा ये गैप यहां पर बढ़ गया है। और यही तस्वीर बाहर जो ये पूरा खिड़की का इलाका है, ये जहां पर खिड़की लगी हुई है, ये पूरा यहां आपको इसके बाहर आता हुआ नजर आ रहा है। इधर ये गैप देखिए, ये कोई डिजाइन नहीं है बल्कि ये खिसक कर इससे बाहर आया हुआ है। और इसी तरीके की तस्वीरें, डरावनी तस्वीरें नजर आ रही हैं।
सर आप होके आए हैं जोशीमठ और पूरे में अफसरों की टीम भी है। पिछले कुछ दिनों के जितने डेवलपमेंट्स हुए हैं आप उसको कैसे सम अप करते हैं?
देखिए अभी सारे ही संस्थान राज्य सरकार के हों, भारत सरकार के हों, सभी की प्राथमिकता है कि इस समय लोगों को सबसे पहले तो सुरक्षित स्थानों पर किया जाए। जो बहुत सारे भारत सरकार के संस्थान हैं, एनडीएमए और एनडीआरएफ और यहाँ की हमारी एसडीआरएफ, ये सारे लोग मौके पर हैं। प्रधानमंत्री जी की चिंता है कि लोगों की जान माल की रक्षा की जाए और इसमें अभी तात्कालिक और दीर्घकालिक जो इनके पुनर्वास की स्थिति है उस पर एक प्लान किया जाए। मानसून सत्र से पहले ही, मानसून के आने से पहले ड्रेनेज के काम को पूरा कर दिया जाए, जिससे कि आने वाले समय में इसी प्रकार से जो सीवरेज का लाइन वहां पर पड़ गया है, वो लोगों के अभी घरों से जुड़ नहीं पाया है, उसको जोड़ने के लिए भी हमने कहा है कि तत्कालिक रूप से उस पर भी कार्रवाई की जाए।
Well, it's not just natural. There is a lot of man-made angle and aspect to it, not just about development, but also unbridled residential construction and, of course, flirting with danger, if you may say, because the Uttarakhand State Disaster Management Authority had released a strategic plan for risk reduction back in 2018. Let's try and have a look at this image, ladies and gentlemen, and carefully. Let's focus on this image first. Now, you see this entire red zone, red dot area. Now, this red zone, and Joshimath is right on that red zone. So, a lot of these regions, some of these holy towns, including Joshimath, are highly vulnerable to three natural calamities. One is because of the fault line passing through earthquakes. Then, because of it, it's a hilly area, landslides, and because of the quakes, again, landslides. And then, of course, because there are river systems and lakes around this place, there will be floods, so flash floods. So landslides, earthquakes, flash floods, this place is highly vulnerable because it's right there situated on the fault line. The built-up area in Joshimath is very, very dense and congested in certain parts with many buildings built without quake resistance, without following the proper protocols. And the two big population centers are these towns that are clearly at very, very high risk. Now let's try and understand a little more why this is important, because Joshimath is the first stop or perhaps the only route towards Badrinath. It's 37.3 kilometers from Badrinath. It's one of the important aspects. 42.1 kilometers from Mana, that is the China border. So it is right there, not so far away. And if Joshimath, there is something that happens to us, there is no link direct towards the Mana or the China border and nothing there. No. So 41 kilometers from Mana, the last Indian village. That's what it is. Nearly 100 kilometers from the line of actual control. Indo-Tibet Border Police Battalion is stationed here. Garhwal Scouts operate a base in Joshimath. And of course, it is close to Barahoti, which sees repeated PLA incursions. So this is a region which is strategically important even for the Chinese and the PLA. So anything that happens in this region towards India, and if that region is shut off or access is shut off, the PLA will want to move in and once again try and occupy territory that does not belong to them. Because for them, sealing off this region is critical as far as their CPEC ambitions are in this region. And of course, they would want to try and get some advantage in this region of Siachen and try and control large parts of Leh Ladakh and also Kargil. So there is a strategic importance too of Joshimath to what is happening. And of course, the crucial Joshimath-Malari road, which is essential for border operations. So all of these angles come into play. Before we go to Pathikrit Pain and also to our reporters on ground, we've joined by Himanshu Khurana, is DM of Chamoli. Himanshu ji, namaste. I know you're getting into a briefing with the Chief Minister. Quickly, 3 or 4 questions. What is the current situation in Joshimath and the nearby areas?
So 678 structures as of yesterday and today morning have witnessed cracks and also we have evacuated till now 81 families into relief camps such as hotels, dharamshalas and guest houses we acquired for the same purpose.
How many buildings are going to be raised to try and stem the subsidence?
Guidance and supervision of Central Building Research Institute, Roorkee. They have recommended that 2 buildings should be demolished and under their supervision the process is starting and in a safe and scientific manner so that it does not pose any risk to the local citizens.
Now, is it restricted only to Joshimath? Because there are reports that it's been seen in neighboring villages areas also.
So experts from Geological Survey of India, National Institute of Hydrology and Wadia Institute and other such government agencies from the Government of India and are investigating the causes and the reasons. Shortly, I think, we hope they'll be able to tell us.
So there could be multiple causes, that's under review, but how many other villages are under threat?
There is one nearby village, Reni village, that is after the Reni disaster in February 2021, some houses witnessed some form of subsidence and we have recommended, the geologist has recommended for their rehabilitation. The process is underway.
So what happens to these 81 families that have been rehabilitated so far? What happens to their existing homes?
They have been shifted to hotels, dharmshalas we have acquired. And regarding their homes, it will depend on the investigations by these agencies.
Is there any compensation mechanism that's been devised? Because people have, put in their life savings to build these homes. They now have to leave it.
The compensation and rehabilitation is being discussed with stakeholders and local people right now.
Well, so it's being discussed. I know it may be part of the agenda in your meeting with the Chief Minister. Final question, is there a threat to all of Joshimath? Are we looking at a situation that we will not see Joshimath as we know anymore?
I think experts have not told us that till now. We are waiting for their opinion.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Himanshuji. I know you're being economical with the information you can let out right now. We hope to be able to speak with you at length very soon, post the briefing, and of course, once an update comes in from the overall assessment in Joshimath. Quickly, let's go on to Nikhil Lakhwani, who's there in Joshimath. He's been there for 2 or 3 days. Nikhil, what is the current situation? Is there more evidence of subsidence? Are these cracks appearing in more buildings, or somewhere because of all the work that's been stopped, there is perhaps a certain amount of reduction in the amount of subsidence that's being witnessed?
So Anand, as far as the current updates are concerned, yes, there are many of the buildings which are reporting the cracks. This is the reason why each late evening a report is prepared by the district administrative office as to how many official buildings are there who have recorded deep cracks. But currently we are reporting outside from 2 of the hotels which are set to be demolished today. Tomorrow they are set to be demolished. So a team of CBRI, Central Building Research Institute, they paid a visit, Anand, to this particular hotel. Yesterday, a team of this CBRI, they paid a visit. They have scanned the entire area. The studies have been done. And also you can see in the visuals that a team of SDRF, they are already deployed here. There are other of the agencies as well who have been put here on standby mode. These are the locals who have gathered here to see a glimpse as to how the demolition is going to take place. But clearly it is on fragile land. This is the reason why every step has to be taken in accordance, and also all the stakeholders will be considered before taking any of the action. But as per the further details, we have been also informed that tomorrow the main exercise of the demolition is going to start at 2 of the hotels. At the same time, I would urge Anand, my camera person Pradeep Kumar Das, to show the visual as to how dense, how thick the cracks are now seen outside this hotel. So this is the proper layer which starts from Hotel A, because 2 of the hotels are there. The gap between the 2 is almost negligible. Clearly, this is the visual that is now being played out on CNN News 18. So this is the crack as well at the same time. So one of the part of the crack, as seen in the visual, it has been separated from the original hotel. This is the reason why under the Disaster Management Act, the notices have been served, Anand, to all the stakeholders. But CBRI is the one who is going to take a call as to which building or what are the premises which demands the demolition at the earliest. Because they are
how many
posing a
buildings
risk
are
to
going to be
other
demolished?
places. This
Is there a hotel? Is there a hotel and one or 2 other buildings which are going to be demolished? That's already been decided. So what happens to the hotel owners? It's their property. Are they going to get compensated for it? How do the authorities feel? Will it be beneficial?
Exactly.
Why will it be beneficial if they break these? If they bulldoze these hotels? These 2-3 buildings.
So Anand, CBRI, a team, so a team of the CBRI is the one who directed the local administration that at the earliest demolition of these 2 hotels is must because they are posing threat to nearby houses. But as far as the compensation is concerned, we also posed this particular question to the local administration. A while back, we had a word with DM Chamoli, who is in charge, nodal officer of the entire activity which is currently underway in Joshimath. He has said that the notices have been served, and after speaking to all the stakeholders, after speaking to the owners of these 2 hotels, the compensation part will be decided after discussions as to in what form the compensation would be given to them. But so far, if we talk about the official figure, Anand, here the CBRI, so far a team of CBRI, they have only suggested the demolition of these 2 buildings at the earliest. But they are also going to and this is something which we have reported yesterday as well, that a survey is being conducted in entire Joshimath to see the extent of the crackage which is being reported. Then a detailed report will be prepared, and after the directions which are being received by CBRI, the directions will be issued as to what are the buildings which needs the urgent demolition or the urgent attention in that sense. Back to you, Anand.
Right, thank you for your inputs. Nikhil, quick word from Pathikrit Pine before we got to take a break. Pathikrit, the strategic importance of Joshimath cannot be lost. And then there has to be an in-depth investigation. Is it the development work that's been undertaken here? Or is there some other nefarious intent behind creating or triggering this calamity that we are seeing on the fault lines? Because there are multiple reasons.
Well, these regions have always been prone to disasters. But let me tell you 2 points. Even if this disaster had not happened, the possibility of Chinese incursions in Uttarakhand was always profound after having what they have tried to do in Ladakh, and Sikkim and Arunachal. But I think if you look at what has happened in case of Kashmir or in Assam, the contingency measures have always been there for the armed forces in spite of severe floods. Counter-insurgency operations of border patrol have never got hampered. So in this case, what happens? Yes, the Joshimath, Malari road, which is very 105 kilometer road, which takes you to Barahoti, Laphal area. There could be bypasses because as part of the Indo-China border road projects, there are 10,000 kilometer roads which are being made. 5 out of those major roads are going to Uttarakhand. So I'm sure bypassing that would be a possibility. They will have that contingency measured in place. Secondly, for the last 2 years, especially during the Galwan crisis, the level of strategic airlifting capacity that Indian Air Force have demonstrated, that is amazing. There have been 11,000 sorties and certain times they have done in terms of exercises. So in case of a contingency situation or an emergency, you can actually airlift. But we also have to make sure that these strategic locations, even the economic imperatives are definitely there. The development projects will have to be in proportion to the importance these regions have in terms of the border, and this kind of situation should be avoided. If there are other reasons for which it has been triggered, we have to see tectonic or seismic challenges, whether they can be artificially created. Well, we don't know what kind of things can happen in today's world. And we have to be careful and we have to see how we actually avoid that kind of situation in future.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for your inputs, Pathikrit. We're going to take a very, very short break here on The Nation at 5. Stay with us.
From the Indira Gandhi International Airport, and 42 trains have been delayed due to the foggy weather.
Delhi has recorded its lowest temperature of this season with submerging at 1.9 degrees Celsius. Also, this is the lowest which the national capital has achieved for this winter season. If we talk about the visibility, it is as low as 50 meters in Delhi. Currently, we are reporting from the Kartavya Path area. These are the visuals we are showing you on CNN News 18, that how a dense layer of fog has completely covered the capital city.
With the prevailing cold wave across North India, a normal life has taken a hit across the northern part of India. In fact, due to the prevailing foggy conditions, a lot of trains are being delayed. And in fact, as per Northern Railways, trains bound to the national capital, around 42 such trains have been delayed. The Northern Railways have maintained that 42 trains which are delayed on the Sunday morning are being delayed for around 4 to 5 hours.
Odisha CM Naveen Patnaik, along with Union Ministers Jyotiraditya Scindia and Dharmendra Pradhan, inaugurated direct flight services from Bhubaneswar to Rourkela. This move has been taken ahead of Odisha Hockey World Cup that will commence on January 13th. Naveen Patnaik also expressed his appreciation to PM Narendra Modi for his constant support. A leopard was rescued after it entered a house in Aligarh's Kasba Jawan village in Uttar Pradesh. According to reports, the big cat entered the home after being chased into it by villagers. The officials carried the big cat after it was tranquilized. The resident Sunita said that the leopard tried to attack her, but that she immediately hid in the kitchen.
ऐसे मुझ पे बहरा के पड़ा तो मैं भागी थी धक्का लेके, तो वो तुरंत ही कमरा में घुस गया। कमरा बंद कर दिया था? नहीं, बंद नहीं कर पाए थे, इतना मौका ही नहीं दिया उसने। हम तो किचन में ही बंद हो गए। पड़ोस वालों ने दी है। हमने कहा था पड़ोस वालों के खिच्ची मार रहे थे तो उन्होंने उनसे कहा, उन्होंने ये कही तुम आप लिख लो। मैंने कि हम नहीं निकल पाएंगे, शेर है इसमें और आप जाओ। उसने किचन पे बाहर नहीं किया, गेट पे नहीं, कोई नहीं बच पाते। वो तो कमरे में ही उसने इन्वर्टर वगैरह तोड़े हैं, लाइट वगैरह सारी खराब कर दी और ये मोटर वगैरह सब तोड़ दी उन्होंने।
A criminal shot and injured a journalist identified as Rajesh Anal in Bihar's Siwan district. The injured journalist was admitted to Sadar Hospital in Siwan after seeing his serious condition. Rajesh Anal was returning home after closing a shop when two bike riders attacked him and fled after firing. Further investigation into this matter is on.
ये मुख्यमंत्री जी आ रहे हैं, माहौल बिगाड़ने के लिए ऐसा किया गया है, दूसरा कोई बात नहीं। जिला का माहौल खराब किया जाए इसीलिए देखे हैं तो वे बताएंगे, FIR करेंगे तो खुद बताएंगे, अलग कोई बात है। लेकिन माहौल खराब करने के लिए ऐसा किया गया, ये हम
प्रशासन से क्या आप लोग चाहते हैं?
प्रशासन तो हर वक्त जो भी क्राइम करता है उसको पकड़ कर जेल प्रशासन भेजती है। ये भी जो क्राइम किया है वो जेल जाएगा।
The Assam police intercepted a car and nabbed 2 drug peddlers and 1 other person near Assam's Jatinga area. The police have recovered 42 narcotic capsules that weigh 20 grams, which the accused kept in small plastic containers. The police have been keeping an eye on the nexus in order to catch them.
एक प्लास्टिक बोतल में मिला था, वहाँ पे छुपा के रखा था। तो टोटल 42 जो छोटा कंटेनर्स है वो मिला है और वेट करने के बाद उसका अराउंड 20 ग्राम्स जैसा मिला है। जितना जो ऑपरेशंस चला रहे थे तो अलग अलग आदमी था, तो उनका जो सोर्स है या किसी का कुछ कांटेक्ट है उस हिसाब से हम लोग जैसे नज़र रखे हुए थे, जैसे इन्फॉर्मेशन मिला कि ऐसा ऐसा ला सकते हैं, तो उस हिसाब से हम लोग ये ऑपरेशन किया, तो आज सक्सेसफुल हुआ।
2 workers died and 3 people were rescued after portions of concrete slabs of an under-construction building collapsed in Hyderabad's Kukatpalli. Out of the 3 people rescued, 1 worker sustained minor injuries. The injured worker was shifted to a nearby hospital. The municipal corporation also issued a show-cause notice to the building owner for deviating from the sanctioned permit plan.
ERF local teams and also other local people helped us to clear all the debris. The 5 people was on the top of the building at the time of collapse, and 3 were rescued safely, and 2 people were buried under the debris. And the spot when building collapsed, they might have died. So after a rescue of 5 hours, we were able to recover the bodies.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will flag off Ganga Vilas cruise on January 13. Preparations are currently underway and the excitement is high among people. The people of Varanasi believe that this cruise will be very helpful in attracting tourism and consider it as PM's gift to Kashi. The cruise will cover a distance of nearly 4,000 kilometers in 50 days.
ये विश्व का सबसे बड़ा जल यात्रा है और हम लोगों का सौभाग्य कि ये काशी से चालू हो रहा है, कि बनारस से चालू हो रहा है, और ये बनारस से चल के जो इसमें कई देशों के नागरिक रहेंगे, तो ये एक विश्व में एक अलग संदेश जाएगा। ये जो काशी जल यात्रा चल रही है और बनारस का पर्यटक इससे काफ़ी हद तक बढ़ा हुआ है।
यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी हमेशा कुछ नया करते हैं, अलग करते हैं, और वो इसकी शुरुआत कर रहे हैं। पर्यटन के क्षेत्र में इतिहास रचा जा रहा है।
Madhya Pradesh CM Shivraj Singh Chauhan hosted a dinner for the NRIs who've arrived for the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, which is to be held from January 8th to 10th in Indore. Around 500 NRIs are taking part in the meet. Remember, Friends of MP was formed during Shivraj's US visit in 2016.
अपनी ओर से केवल नहीं, मध्य प्रदेश की 8.5 करोड़ जनता की ओर से हृदय से स्वागत करता हूँ। आप सबका अभिनंदन।
उधर हो जाओ भैया, सिक्योरिटी वाले को।
मध्य प्रदेश देश का दिल है और आप मध्य प्रदेश के दिल के टुकड़े हैं।
हाँ,
कब से हम इंतजार कर रहे थे आप।
Amid Bharat Jodo Yatra, Congress MP Rahul Gandhi watched a kabaddi match in Haryana's Karnal. He was accompanied by senior party leaders including Bhupinder Singh Hooda, KC Venugopal, Kumari Selja and Dipinder Hooda. Remember, the Yatra will enter Punjab through Shambhu border on Jan 10th. After entering Punjab, the march will head to Fatehgarh Sahib. While the cold wave has gripped North India, for Congress supporters, the cold is no bar as they danced shirtless amid dense fog during the Bharat Jodo Yatra in Haryana's Karnal. The lowest temperature recorded was
The ongoing tussle between the ruling DMK government in Tamil Nadu and the Tamil Nadu governor R.N. Ravi is only escalating. On Monday, the governor made changes to the speech which the DMK claimed had been approved or accepted mutually, and he didn't read certain passages and he read out only certain portions in the assembly. MK Stalin then was accused of disrespecting the governor walking out in a huff after he realized what was happening. Today, the governor sent out Pongal invites with Tamilakam, and instead of Tamil Nadu in the invite. Also, on the other side, posters of the governor Get Out Ravi, saying Get Out Ravi, which is also trending on social media. These posters were put up in Chennai. Ruckus erupted inside the assembly yesterday when governor skipped several parts of the speech where certain portions which the DMK thought had been approved by the governor's office were skipped, which also included pushing out or talking about the Dravidian ideology and the Dravidian model of governance and certain leaders of, tall leaders, political leaders of Tamil Nadu. That included the former Congress Chief Minister K. Kamaraj. Now, Chief Minister Stalin, in the presence of the governor, went ahead and proposed a resolution, and the governor himself, against the governor himself, to strike the amended speech from the House records and to relax Rule number 17 to include the original speech. The governor, when he realized what's happening, had walked out in a huff. Today, the governor has also come out and made a statement. Listen in.
Never be critical of Government of India policy. At the same time, when you are defending the Government of India policy, you should not be sounding as a rabid defender, in the sense that any policy which is framed is a policy for the society, framed by the human being. There is always room for improvement. However, no policy is a 100% distilled, foolproof policy. If it is between the central government and the state government, you should not have any doubt, central government, because you are being chosen for the central government, civil servant of the union government, not of the state government. But if it is a matter of policy, there should not be any confusion. If there is a difference between the central government and the state government, you are there to stand by the central government.
வரலாற்றே இல்லாத மாதிரி நம்முடைய தலைவர் ஒரு சம்பவம் செஞ்சிருக்கிறாரு. பொதுவாக தலைவர் அவர்கள் தன்னுடைய பதிலில் கொண்டு வருகின்ற அறிவிப்புகள் எதிர்க்கட்சிகளை தான் ஓட விடுவார். இன்று நம்முடைய ஆளுநரையே ஓட விட்டார் நம்முடைய தலைவர் அவர்கள். அப்படிப்பட்ட ஒரு முதலமைச்சர், தமிழ்நாட்டு முதலமைச்சர், உங்களுக்கு தெரியும், தினமும் மக்களுக்காக பணிகள், மக்களுக்கான அந்த திட்டங்களை கொண்டு வருதல், அதே நேரத்தில் நம்முடைய உரிமைகள் பறிபோனால் அதற்கு குரல் கொடுக்கும் இந்தியாவிலே நம்பர் 1 முதலமைச்சர் என்றால் நம்முடைய தலைவர் அவர்கள் தான். அவருக்கு நீங்கள் எல்லாம், இளைஞர்கள் எல்லாம் நீங்கள் துணை நிற்க வேண்டும், உங்களுடைய ஆதரவை கொடுக்க வேண்டும் என்று கேட்டுக்கொண்டு, தலைவர்களுடைய இந்த தன்னம்பிக்கையும் உழைப்பும் போல் நம் ஒவ்வொருவரும் நம்முடைய அந்த தன்னம்பிக்கையை பெறுவோம் என்று கேட்டுக்கொண்டு.
Purnima Murli now joins us live. Purnima, the governor's message very clear. Whatever goes against central policy, his office is not going to sign on to it. The other aspect is that he is on a constitutional post. He's been sent down by the center, so he will do his job. Is this now anyway showing signs of thaw, or is it only going to further escalate? This face-off between the chief minister and the DMK and the governor on the other side.
Well, the ruling DMK is trying to escalate the issue further. Remember, it's not going to die down, while the governor is very clear that he will follow the policies that are put forth by the central government, because that's his role and that's his protocol, and that he won't violate it. The DMK and the ruling party, however, says that they expect a couple of bills that are still pending before the governor, including the bill to ban online gaming. All these will come up for discussions. We can see a stormy assembly session session ahead, and with the governor sending out invitations with the word Tamaraga governor instead of Tamil Nadu governor, that again is raked up by the DMK posters across Chennai, especially outside the DMK office in and around the Mount Road, saying get out Ravi hashtag or posters. Those are also by the sympathizers of the ruling party, and allies of the DMK staging a protest this weekend ahead of Pongal clearly shows that it's not going to die down, and the war of words between the DMK and its allies versus the governor is only going to escalate.
Well, it is interesting that that not till long ago, the Chief Minister himself on his social media handles had Tamaragam, the word Tamaragam present there, and the DMK has actively used the word Tamaragam, but suddenly they seem to distance themselves from it the moment Governor R.N. Ravi advocated the fact that rather than Tamaragam is perhaps a better way to understand this region or the state that we currently know as Tamil Nadu. But this fight not de-escalating, only escalating further, and Governor R.N. Ravi and his office also not willing to back down. That clearly seems to be the position. So both sides have drawn their lines, and now perhaps in the coming days will only be sharpening their swords. Thank you for your inputs, Purnima. With that, it's a wrap of this edition of The Nation at 5. Zaka ready with Viewpoint. Stay with us.
Good evening, this is Viewpoint. I'm Zaka Jacob. It's a case of complete and total civic apathy. Today, a metro pillar in the under-construction part of the Bangalore metro between KR Puram and Hebbal fell on a woman and her 2.5-year-old child, killing them both. A city whose civic infrastructure is literally splitting at the seams. This is the latest instance of misplaced priorities. While the city's lawmakers should be talking about better roads, better infrastructure, better connectivity, they are instead talking about hijab and halal and Tipu Sultan. As Karnataka goes to polls in the next couple of months, should the plight of the likes of Tejaswini and Vihan and millions of such ordinary Bangaloreans who literally are put through the ringer every single day, just commuting from home to work and back, should that be the #1 campaign issue this election season in Karnataka, or will it once again be sabotaged by divisive and polarizing themes instead?
This is the moment when an under-construction metro pillar collapsed in Bengaluru, crushing 25-year-old Tejaswini and her 2.5-year-old son Vihan to death. Tejaswini was riding pillion while her husband was driving their bike in Bengaluru's Nagavara area. The couple were both wearing helmets, and their twin children, a son and a daughter, were with them. While they were passing through the stretch, a 40-feet-long iron metro pillar crashed on them. Tejaswini and Vihan suffered grievous injuries and died in hospital, while the husband and daughter are still being treated.
ಇದು ಪಿಲ್ಲರ್ ಬಂದು 4-5 ದಿವಸದಿಂದ ಅಲ್ಲಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಯಾರು ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅವ್ರ ಕೆಲಸ ಬೇರೆ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ 10:05ಕ್ಕೆ ಇದು ಒಂದೇ ಸತಿ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಇವರು ತಾಯಿ ಮಗು ಮತ್ತು ಗಾಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು.
The iron bars of the pillar had been fixed but were yet to be concretized. It was part of Namma Metro's operations to Kempegowda International Airport, which is set to be open to the public by the end of the year.
This kind of incident should not happen in the future. For that, whatever is the required additional measures which has to be taken, which the team will suggest, accordingly we'll work on that.
The tragedy in Bengaluru comes at a time when the Bombay government is being accused of cutting corners and hiring contractors who use low-quality raw materials.
ನನಗೆ ಈಗ ತಾನೇ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಸುದ್ದಿ ಗೊತ್ತು. ಅದು ವಿಚಾರಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಯಾಕೆ ಬಿತ್ತು ಏನು ಬಿತ್ತು ಅಂತ. ಆ ಕಾರಣನೂ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊತೀವಿ ಮತ್ತು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಏನು ಪರಿಹಾರ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಕೊಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾದಂಥ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮತ್ತೆ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ.
This is the quality of 40% commission Sarkar. When they give 40% commission, what quality they can give?
This is not the first time that Bengaluru residents have died due to glaring civic apathy in the city. Killer potholes have claimed the lives of countless motorists, and the city's IT corridor sinks with even one spell of heavy rainfall. With no lessons learned, who will be held accountable for Bengaluru's civic mess?
All right, we have a piece of breaking news in connection with this. The Bangalore Metro Rail Corporation has now issued a statement, the latest statement on the death of the mother and child, saying that notices have been issued to the concerned contractor as well as engineers. Remember, an iron pillar was being moved today in the stretch between Puram and Hebbal, and that's when it collapsed, killing 25-year-old Tejaswini and a 2.5-year-old son Bihan. If you are in Bangalore tonight and if you are angry, just like all of us are, at what happens to the city and what has happened today to two residents there for absolutely no fault of theirs, we're opening up our phone lines. 01204341895 is where you need to call us. Who has betrayed Bengaluru? Once in 5 years, you get a chance to hold your politicians, your elected netas accountable. That chance, that time is now. Call us. The number once again, 01204341895. Opening it up to our guest, Dr. Narendra Rangappa, is what